What is up, comic book community? My name is Joe, and you're watching 360 Comics. Today, we're talking about a topic on which I've spoken about before, and that is affordable key comics. Today, we're talking specifically about affordable keys from the Uncanny X-Men run that you can get for $20 or less. And when you're done with this video, make sure you check out the other affordable key videos that I have. The link is in the description below. Stay tuned. We recently hit 2,500 subscribers here on YouTube, and it's time to give away this book right here, Edge of Spider-Verse #1, a 9.8 white pages of the 1 in 25 Ramos variant. If you want to win this book, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, leave a comment down below, and check out our other videos, like them, and leave comments on them for additional entries. I'll be picking a winner this Sunday, February 5th, live on Instagram, so enter before it's too late. Good luck. For this video, I pulled out 10 Uncanny X-Men keys that you can buy for about $20 or less in high grade. And you'll notice there is a range of keys. It's not just all first appearances. So depending on what you collect, you can target different ones, but always be on the lookout for these books, especially if they are marked really cheap. That being said, if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know in the comments below. Do you want to see a video of 10 more affordable Uncanny X-Men keys? Or would you like to see a different title for the next affordable key video? Let me know. Anyway, let's start off. We're going in chronological order, so going all the way back to the late Bronze Age, 1980. We've got Uncanny X-Men number 143, and there are a couple different things about this book that are particularly significant. What I would call the most significant thing about this book is that it is the last artwork on Uncanny X-Men by John Byrne, and John Byrne took over after David Cockrum left the run. He was the original artist during the Claremont run, starting in issue 94, and he took over, or when he left, rather, John Byrne took over and gave us some of the most monumental storylines in X-Men history, as well as some really, really great characters that have really stood the test of time and are still popular to this day. And, you know, given that he was the artist, he was designing the physical appearance of these characters. You know, most notably, probably the 2 issues before this are of the Days of Future Past run, which has gone down as one of the most monumental X-Men stories, but also one of the most monumental stories in comics ever, and was adapted into a movie, all that stuff. But yeah, you know, this is the last John Byrne issue. Not only that, but it's also one of the early issues when they officially changed the name to Uncanny X-Men. Prior to that, it was listed on the trade dress, which, it's funny, it's actually not listed on the trade dress as Uncanny on this issue, but on the indicia inside the book, it does say the Uncanny X-Men. The original run up until right around this time, I actually forget what the first issue is. Maybe it's the Days of Future Past is the first time that they officially changed the name in the indicia to Uncanny X-Men. But this is certainly one of the early ones. The third thing about this book is the fact that it's a Christmas issue. There are a lot of collectors out there that collect holiday-themed issues, and this one says Merry Christmas at the top. And not only that, it's got the little Christmas tree in the background here. Great Kitty Pryde cover as well, done by John Byrne himself for his last send-off issue. I think it's a pretty good one, especially given the price. Then we've got this next one. This is still from the Claremont run. Actually, almost all of these books were written by Chris Claremont, which makes sense because he is the X-Men guy. This is Uncanny X-Men number 158. Not only does it have a really fantastic cover, in my opinion, of Rogue punching Wolverine into oblivion, this is also Rogue's second appearance in comic books and her first appearance in the Uncanny X-Men title, because her first appearance was in Avengers Annual number 10. So different title entirely. She was introduced there, but this is where she was introduced into X-Men continuity, And that's really where she's known. Like when you think Rogue, you think X-Men. You don't think, Avengers. You probably don't even think of what happened in that issue with her and Carol Danvers. You think X-Men, especially after her being such a focal point in not only the early '90s X-Men television show, the animated series, which is coming back, but also in the X-Men Fox movies. Rogue was a major part, although it was a different take on the character. But anyway, we got Rogue's second appearance here. That's significant. It's her first appearance in X-Men. That's significant. I guess this would be her first cover appearance, right? Maybe. This is actually tied with another book, by the way. Rom 31 is also Rogue's second appearance. I believe they're tied with each other. But either way, Rogue is probably going to show up at some point in the MCU. She's too popular of a character for them to really leave out of things, even though she was used significantly in the Fox properties. Next up, we've got Uncanny X-Men number 168, 10 issues later. This is the first appearance of Madeline Pryor as an adult. This is a character that really has not been utilized, and I think they really haven't fleshed out enough enough of an X-Men story. Like we got a lot of stuff from Fox, but towards the end, when they would have been introducing this character, it was kind of all over the place. They kind of were just treading water, and they weren't going on with with the original characters and progressing. They did the whole time hop thing, and they also did some stuff that just was not in continuity with the other movies, but that's neither here nor there. I hope that we can see some Madeline Pryor in the in the MCU, because really she's significant. She's really, really, really significant, including with some books that we'll see later on that kind of link to her in a way. Then we've got a book. I have talked about this book to death on this channel, so I'm going to be brief with it. This is Uncanny X-Men number 184. This is the first appearance of Forge. This is a character who was in the animated series and who I think is a really, really great character. Isn't going to be like the star of the show, but just such a great supporting X-Men character. I really hope they utilize him in the MCU, and not only that, but he has that element of diversity, being a character who is an Indigenous American. There aren't a ton of characters to choose from, as far as that kind of representation goes, but definitely an important representation to utilize. And like I said, the character is really cool. He's like a master tinkerer, can almost like MacGyver-y in a way. But I really hope they end up utilizing him and like all his technology and stuff. But yeah, this is one that I have a lot of copies of, and anytime that I can find it cheap, which you still find this book in dollar bins sometimes, not very often anymore, but you can get it for under $20 in high grade for sure. Then we got Uncanny X-Men 201, and this is the first appearance of Baby Nathan Summers, who ends up growing up to become Cable, traveling back in time and showing up in New Mutants 87 for the first time as Cable. But this book, in fact, does predate that. Obviously, New Mutants 87 is the more expensive book. It's got Cable on the front. He's an adult, a full-fledged character, and he has gone on to appear in movies and shows and stuff like that. This is a great way to pick up an affordable first appearance of that character. Obviously, he is a baby. It's the child of Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, and Madeline Pryor, the clone of Jean Grey. And again, there's that connection to Madeline Pryor. Is this something they could do in the MCU? Absolutely. We've already seen Cable, but we haven't seen this baby version of Cable yet. So I don't know if the Cable from Deadpool is going to be tied into the MCU at all. I would say that's a big maybe. Probably not, honestly, but maybe could be in like Secret Wars or something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on to the next one. This is another book I've spoken about a few times. This is Uncanny X-Men number 212. This is the first meeting of Wolverine and Sabretooth, and when I think Wolverine and I think Wolverine villains, Sabretooth is the one that comes to mind. And I would think that for most people that's the case. They have appeared alongside each other in the comics for decades, in the animated shows, and even in the live-action Fox movies. I think this book is a very underrated book. In fact, there are like cover appearances of Wolverine and Sabretooth that are just like strictly cover appearances of them fighting that are worth more than this book. And I'm not 100% sure why that is, but you would think their actual first meeting in here, their first meeting, first battle, all that stuff, that would be the book. But if for some reason it is not, maybe because Sabretooth isn't on the cover, but it does have a really awesome Wolverine cover. Can't go wrong with that. Such a fan favorite character. So I think that is a solid one. We got a couple more here. Moving on to Uncanny X-Men number 239. This is the second appearance as well as the first cover appearance of Mr. Sinister. Now, Mr. Sinister, pretty big character, one they were starting to allude to in the Fox franchise, but that is done. No more Fox movies. The rights have reverted back to Marvel. They're clearly not going to keep going on with those storylines, but this character never showed up, and I think as far as major characters that we'll see, I think Mr. Sinister will probably come along pretty early. He's not like such a big bad that, he's not like a Thanos or a Kang the Conqueror kind of character, but he is significant. He is major. He does have a lot of history with the X-Men and a lot of stories to tell. So I think he's going to come along sooner rather than later. He's not on the cover of his first appearance. As mentioned, this is his first cover appearance, which by the way is X-Men 221. So this book actually has some significant value because it's such a good cover and it's his first cover appearance. He's clearly the sole focus of this cover here. Fingers crossed that we see him and he's done well, and I think it will likely be early in the X-Men's appearances in the MCU. All right, we got two more here. I had this book up at the beginning. Oh wait, I lied. We have three more. Well, I had this book up in the I had the Wolverine book up in the beginning. Forget everything I just said. This is Uncanny X-Men number 356. No, I'm wrong with the number. 348. This is the first Jim Lee artwork on Uncanny X-Men. Not his first work in general, not even his first work at Marvel, which comes in the Alpha Flight run, but this is his first work on Uncanny X-Men. He did a ton of X-Men covers, not just in this run, but also X-Men Volume 2, that 90s run, written by Claremont with his artwork for the first 11 issues that most people call the Jim Lee X-Men run because he started it off and he has some really significant covers there. This is his first one. Great cover. Not only that, but it does have a second printing, so look out for that with the gold background instead of the pink. If you're into collecting, second printings and stuff like that. There certainly are less of the second printing of this book than the first, but the value still lies in the first printing. And I've spoken about second printings and stuff on other videos, and we'll continue to give some of that information because I think it is important to the community. Yeah, Jim Lee, classic. We had earlier in this video, we had the last artwork of a significant artist. Now we have the first artwork on the title of a significant artist. And there are people who collect comics specifically for the art, and these are the keys they go for. So I figure it was worth mentioning a couple of them. Then we've got a great one here. A book that I have a whole lot of copies on, and I'm really banking on this character. I really enjoy this character. This is Uncanny X-Men number 282. This is the first appearance of Bishop. It's actually technically the first cameo appearance of Bishop. He is on the last page only, but he's also on the cover, which kind of makes it difficult. This one holds more value than that first appearance. In my opinion, if a character appears on just one or two pages, it's a cameo. But if they are the focal point of the cover, like Bishop is on this, I still call it his first appearance. So I particularly call this his first appearance, and I put a little asterisk next to it because a lot of people will call this a cameo. CGC refers to it, I believe, as a first appearance, but Key Collector, I believe, refers to it as first cameo appearance. Maybe I'm wrong about CGC. I gotta check. I have this slab, so I'll check at some point. But anyway, the market has decided this is the book to own. This is worth more than the following issue, and it's got a great cover as well. So this is very shortly after the Claremont run ended. This is the first new set of characters that were introduced after that 16-year run on X-Men from Chris Claremont. And you know what? I think they knocked the ball out of the park on this one because they really had a lot to follow up, given that Chris Claremont was so significant. And this character has really stood the test of time, appearing in the animated series, appearing a little bit in the Fox, but not being utilized totally well. This guy's got the time travel element to him. I think might even show up before we get a lot more X-Men, because, there's probably going to be a lot of time travel stuff in the next few years of the MCU due to Kang the Conqueror and all that stuff. So we might be seeing this guy sooner than we think. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. The last book here, I'm skipping pretty far ahead, all the way up to issue 380. This is, in my opinion, a really underrated X-Men book. Uncanny X-Men number 300 and... Did I say 380? 390. 390? 380. 390. It is 390. This is the death of Colossus. And deaths in comic books often have little to no impact, especially because most characters get brought back often shortly after. This one, in my opinion, not only is it a super major character, Colossus had been around since the mid-1970s. This would have been around, this might have come out right around 2000. So this is a character who had been around and been significant and a member of the X-Men team for about 25 years. And the legacy virus, which had been introduced almost 100 issues prior to this, this was kind of the resolution of all that. I think that this book is underrated. It probably is underrated because it's from an era where comics were not selling very well. This was after the comic book crash of the mid-1990s. And I think a lot of these stories get forgotten because some of them are good, but a lot of them are really just not great stories. Companies were putting out stuff rather just to put out stuff and not paying the artists and the writers. And oftentimes things were very lackluster and they were overworked and all that stuff. This storyline, really, really great. Recommend reading it. But yeah, obviously not only a significant occurrence here, but a great cover to go along with it, featuring Colossus right on the front, looking at that needle, making a decision of whether he wants to... I won't give away anything. Read the book and read the surrounding books and stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I tried to get a broad range of things. I had some first appearances, of course. You got to have those when talking about keys. I had some artist-related stuff. I had some character meetups. I had the death of a character, all that kind of stuff. And, like I said, all these books, you can find them high grade, 8.0 and above. Not graded, but, raw copies that are 8.0 and above. You can find every one of these books, even the Bronze Age ones, for $20 or less. Sometimes you can even find these books in dollar bins places or for a couple bucks a piece. So make sure you're looking around for them. I think they're solid pickups given that the X-Men are coming to the MCU. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video, what you want to see in the next Affordable Keys video. And until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.